Okay, guys, Sean here from Hammerhead. Just a little update for you guys on what's going on in Ottawa. Was talking to my brother earlier today, probably around 2 o'clock Atlantic time, and didn't seem that there was that many people on the go. He was going into to a local cafe there to have a coffee, and people are still honking their horns. Essentially, nothing has changed in the Ottawa situation. He said he saw a few police officers walking about, but they didn't look like they were too interested in doing anything. The truckers apparently are still having problems getting fuel into some areas. What they're doing is they're letting folks out, but they're not allowing them to come back in. So that seems to be how they're going to try and curtail the situation down there, is that they're not going to let people come back in after they go out to get fuel. So anyway, what they're still doing is bringing jugs in. The two gators that I was telling you about are still active with slip tanks. They're bringing diesel and gasoline in for the folks. The food and water situation hasn't changed. Everything is completely the way it was. They're getting lots of food. They're getting lots of water. So everything seems to be normal at the moment. Now, the situation down at the Montana-Alberta border seems to have stabilized somewhat. The RCMP earlier tried, I guess, to have some vehicles towed out of there, and they were unsuccessful in doing so, from what I gather, from the information I got. So it hasn't escalated as far as I know. The main reason I wanted to bring you on here today is I wanted to show you guys a video that is super powerful, and it needs to be seen. We're going to actually show it tonight on our 6 o'clock news podcast with Sean, this guy's garage. But I figured I'd show it to some of my folks here first. So hopefully this will work. My screen sharing abilities are not the greatest, so let me know in the comments if you can see this. Okay, here we go. It's really cool, really powerful. Okay, here we are.
Freedoms, which wasn't passed by the Prime Minister. It was 9 provinces.
Everybody hear that? Okay.
Prime Minister. It's a national document that applies to everyone here today and everyone all over Canada. So understand, except for the creation of the country in 1867, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is by far the most important document in the history of our country since we were a country. It is the most important one because it applies to you and me.
Is there an echo? Okay.
Every individual on this planet is unique. Like every snowflake is unique, every individual is unique. And therefore, when you get a document that says that I have these freedoms and I have these rights, that means every single one of us, from the Fino to Iqaluit to Bonavista to the Niagara Peninsula, every Canadian is equal and has equal rights before the law. Section 2 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, what does it say? It says you have freedom of expression, you have freedom of conscience, you have freedom of religion, you have freedom of expression, and you have freedom of the press. What else does it say? It says you have freedom to associate. You have freedom to assemble. And in Section 6 it says, you have the right to travel anywhere in this nation, anytime. And you even have the freedom to leave this country if you so want. But most importantly for a lot of people who now see this, it also says in Section 6, you have the right to pursue a livelihood anywhere in this country. You have the right to pursue a livelihood anywhere in this country, and they are taking jobs away. Inside the government and outside the government, and threatening others of their jobs. And then number 7 says, Section 7 says, you have the right, listen to this one, to life, liberty, as Dr. Lagasse talked about, and Dr. Hoff talked about. And you also have the right to your security of the person. Nobody is allowed to touch you unless you agree.
What a guy.
And then Section 15 says, to top it all off, we weren't satisfied with those three. We topped it off by saying every person in Canada is equal before the law. You're just as equal as Justin Trudeau. You're just as equal as John Horgan. You're just as equal as Adrian Dixon. By then, you're. You don't have to take a back seat to anybody. No. You have your rights and your freedoms as an individual. This business of group rights and this business of lobby group rights and all the rest of it completely disguises your rights as an individual. And we got to be very careful going forward that we don't lose these rights to these groups, that they take over and dominate the government of British Columbia or the government of any province. You must remain steadfast, that as an individual, you come first. The groups come second, that you form with. And that's very important for any democracy anywhere in the world. When the individual gets submerged by a group or something else, that's the beginning of the decline of our democracy. So those 4 sections of the Constitution and of the Charter of Rights are absolutely sacrosanct, okay? And then we've got people out there who are trying to say to me and to others, I don't know if they think we don't know the difference. That somehow Section 1 of the Constitution, I know it's cool, I know it's getting evening, but you got to listen to this. Somehow that Section 1 forgives the government. And that they can go ahead and override those other 4 sections I just mentioned. I got news for them. There are 4 tests that have to be met. Well, first of all, that Section 1 doesn't even apply to our circumstance. Because when we wrote that section, the whole idea was this, that the only way you could override these sacrosanct rights and freedoms of individuals, which if there was a dire situation in the country, like war or insurrection, a virus from which 99% recover, there's no war and no insurrection. And then if you tried to, even if you tried to make it, if you tried to squeeze it to apply, if you tried to bend it to make it try to apply to this circumstance, what did you have to do? You had to do 4 things. You had to do 4 things. Number 1, justify? No, that wasn't heavy enough. Demonstrably justify what you're doing. Demonstrably justify what you're doing, okay? Okay, is that all? No. You have to demonstrably justify that by law. That meant a new law, not the existing laws that they're using. New circumstance means new law. Where's the new law? They never went to the parliament. They never went to the provincial assemblies to get a new law. They tried to use the existing law. They skirted around the Charter of Rights and Freedoms by law. Number 3, using reasonable limits. And number 4, you had to do all of those other 3, but remember, it had to be done in a way that was consistent with a free and democratic society. What they're doing is not consistent with any free or democratic society. It's more consistent with a totalitarian society. So don't be fooled by those who try to tell you that somehow you can skirt around the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. I was there, I helped write the damn thing, and they're wrong, and we're right. We didn't wait from 1867 to 1981 to now 2021 to see all of our rights suddenly wiped out for callous and powerful reasons by those who forget from whence they came. Ours is a country worth fighting for. Listen to me, I was 7 years old before I became a Canadian. I wasn't born a Canadian, but I can tell you right now, I'm a Canadian now, and I want to defend what we've had and what we know we can continue to have in this country. And you and me are not going to take a back seat to all those who are trying to somehow excuse what happened. We're not going to take a back seat to these people. We're going to stand next, beside them or above them and tell them that we want a prosperous, secure, and free Canada for the future, for our children and for our grandchildren, and you have no right to try to steal that away from us. From Tofino to Iqaluit, to Bonavista to the Niagara Peninsula, we must become united as Canadians, as free Canadians, understanding our history, understanding the history of our planet, and put that all in context for tomorrow, so that we can be a proud, free country in the northern part of North America. We're not going away, Mr. Horgan. We're not going away, Mr. Trudeau. We're going to stand and be counted and to make sure that we restore the Charter rights and freedoms which everybody fought so hard to get. Stay around. Thank you for coming.
We have a special gift to give. The Honourable Brian Peckford. This man here, Mark from Courtney, has a piece of the Berlin Wall. When did you take that?
I stood on the Berlin Wall November 9th, 1989, and I took 1,000 pieces. And I've got one here for the Honourable Brian Peckford, and I wish to present it to him. This is all unprepared, but I would like to present it to you for all the work you've done. And I took this off the Berlin Wall. I stood with 20,000 people with a sledgehammer in one hand and a freedom sickle in the other.
And we're here to bring down this invisible Berlin Wall. That's
Anyway, there you go. Apologies for the audio. It's hard sometimes to get it to come in the right way. How is it now with just my voice? Pretty powerful stuff. I don't think you're going to find anybody that's going to disagree with anything that man has to say. Not if they're Canadian, but maybe you will. It's hard to say nowadays with the way folks are. But I think he'd get my vote if he was going to run for prime minister. He probably doesn't want the job, and I got to be completely honest with him. I don't blame him if he didn't. He was the former premier of Newfoundland and the only surviving member that helped write the 1981 Canadian Constitution. So that's kind of cool. He was pretty fired up, and when I put that video on and started watching it, I got fired up just watching it. So I figured you guys would get a kick out of that. Shawns going to play it again on his channel tonight when we go on there after supper around 6 o'clock. So if you folks want to join over at this guy's garage channel, I'll be on there with him hosting it. I'll put a link here on my community tab on this channel if you guys want to follow over. We're trying to figure out how to use the StreamYard app and broadcast on my channel with all three of us. And then we're going to use his channel with all three of us. So we're in the process of trying to figure that out. Hey, Joe, what's going on, bud? But anyway, I figured you guys would get a kick out of that. If you hadn't seen it already, that was the Mr. Brian Peckford, retired former premier of Newfoundland and the last surviving member of the authors of the 1981 Canadian Constitution, which the forefront of the Charter rights and freedoms. And so anyway, yeah, so those that are just joining, the Ottawa Situation hasn't changed. I was talking to my brother at roughly 2 p.m. Atlantic time, and he was in a cafe having a coffee, and he was telling me that things are pretty normal. The horns are still blaring like mad. There hasn't been that many police around. They've seen a few this morning, but they were just going about their business. Didn't seem to be doing much. The fuel situation is they're getting gas in, maybe not quite as much as they need, but what's happening is that they're allowing the folks out to get fuel, but they're not allowing them to come back down into the downtown core. The police have several roads leading into the core blockaded, so they're not allowing people back in. So that's how they're I think that is their plan of how they're going to try and alleviate the pressure down there. People will run low of fuel and leave, and then that'll just naturally dissipate the numbers. But there's still a lot of folks down there, like an unbelievable amount of trucks still down there. So and there's other convoys that are in the area, and they're trying to get in all the time. So I don't have any more updates on that. Yeah, the Coots situation, from what I understand, is it's kind of more normalized at the moment. The police were trying to get in there with tow vehicles to tow some of the vehicles out. I'm not sure what happened. As far as I know, I haven't had any definitive reports from anybody, but as far as I know, they haven't been able to remove anybody, and there has been no violence down there. But tensions are certainly high in that area. That's the border between Montana and Alberta. Yeah, I heard that too, Angel. The truckers are going to do a slow roll across Canada. Wouldn't that be something? Just slow roll the whole Trans-Canada highway from coast to coast and just keep slow rolling it. Just they're still trucking, right? They're not hauling goods, but I mean, that's what other options do we have at this point? I mean, really, we need to. My cousin's telling me here the tow truck joined Convoy at Coates. Okay. As far as the Ottawa tow truck situation, they were trying to get several tow companies to get in there to tow them, and the tow truck companies refused. And I think a lot of that has to do with you guys calling over to Ottawa with friends and talking to local truck drivers and tow truck operators. And that's a pretty big deal because most tow truck drivers depend heavily on law enforcement for a lot of their money. A lot of their income comes from that. So for them to refuse that tells you something, in my opinion. But in any case, the situation is a little bit tense still at Coots. I'm waiting to hear back from a few people to give me the updated information as to what's going on. And we should know more by 6 o'clock tonight or 6:30 when we get on with Sean there over at Hammerhead Garage. Just go to my community tab on my page here, and there'll be a link to that live stream if you guys want to check it out. We've got Dave on tonight, so he'll be able to do the technical stuff a lot better than I will, which means the audio will be good and everything else. So the three of us work well together. That seems to be the way. But Robert Starr, safety in numbers, you betcha, bud. Absolutely. Ram at 5100. I sent Sean some links. Yeah, he did receive those. I'm pretty sure he was telling me he got those. So that's cool. If you guys have any information, just send it to. We'll have an email address for Sean there tonight. You can just send him an email. We'd appreciate it. We're trying to only put news on there that has been vetted. In other words, we know people that are reliable, that are giving the info to us, or direct sources on the ground. So that's the idea behind it. But as of right now, let me just do another quick check here, just to check a few sources in case something has come in while I'm on the stream that you guys may want to know about. It seems to be the honking will continue until freedom improves. There was a guy downtown that had a sign on his truck that said that. That's awesome. Let me just quickly check one other source here, guys. See if anything else has come in. My brother sends me stuff all the time, so I'm not even sure when it comes in a lot of the time unless I leave the links open. So just opening up one here to see. Nope, doesn't look like it. Need to start a petition through the truckers to have parliament. No, we fire Trudeau. I don't know if you guys heard or not, but Aaron O'Toole, who's the leader of the Progressive Conservative Party in Canada, they had a no confidence vote for him today, so he's out. See ya. Bye-bye. So if that it was so easy to do that, why is it so hard to have a no confidence vote for the prime minister? I'm just putting it up there in the air. Does anybody know the answer? I don't. I certainly don't know what the answer would be. They got rid of O'Toole this afternoon, so why is it so hard to get rid of Sox? Right? But anyway, if anything else, right now the world is watching, and there's, like I said, there's truck convoys springing up all over the place. I heard they're going to be running down the states to Washington. There's a truck convoy headed there. Australia, they're going to Cambrai, I think it's called, or one of those other major cities. Netherlands, France, all over the place. So that's awesome. That's the kind of spirit we need, right? It's the pocket that Sox is in. Yeah, no doubt, man. Mad Irishman. But anyway, truth and light, that's what we're going to stand for. And if we keep all marching towards that goal, then they can't help but have to acknowledge us at some point. Any other government in the world would have been toppled a long time ago, in my opinion. But who knows what's going on behind the scenes, right? Australia convoy made it to their capital yesterday. Yeah, cool. Right on. I noticed the Rebel News report there that they had a lot of Canadian flag stickers on their trucks. So that's awesome. I think they took quite a bit of courage and quite a bit of direction from what's going on here in this country. So that's good. Yeah, Klaus Schwab. Yeah, he's quite a boy for sure. But anyway, yeah. So I won't just sit here and fill this airspace with drivel. Look for the link for tonight's podcast with the three of us. Hopefully we'll have some new info by then. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Thanks for jumping on here and sharing a few minutes with me. And cheers, rock and roll. We'll see you soon.